You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Mr. Scott Williams.
Hey there.
Scott, tell me a little bit about yourself and if you want, what you do professionally or whatever you're interested in.
Sure thing. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Basically, by day, I work in IT. I do a little bit of programming, a little bit of help desk. By night, I'm a pizza maker. I guess maybe not by night, but on the weekends and some nights, I do a live stream on twitch.tv. Do it about 2 times a week, and we do pizza making on there. And it's a hobby of mine, but it's been growing over the years. So who knows? I guess maybe the stars are the limit with that one.
You literally introduced yourself like Batman. Like, I am a regular guy during the day, then at night I am a pizza maker. Like, you made me start thinking of like a good comic book series we could create. Like, Scott Williams, is he, what would he be? The cheese knight or the pizza knight? Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one, and it's crazy that you mentioned Batman because that's like he's pretty much my favorite comic book hero. So he's just a regular guy.
Yeah, but is it because he's badass? Like, everybody always gives him that crap, like, oh, he's just a regular dude with a lot of money. I'm like, he broke his back and then climbed out of a really dark hole, and he's basically like, I don't even know. He's the protector of Gotham City.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not just the toys. It's not just the money. I mean, he put himself through all sorts of training. Yeah, there was the whole issue with the broken back and his way of kind of training himself back to being a regular person. Yeah, there's just really something about that. I've always thought that was really cool. I mean, other superheroes who have, like Superman's got his own set of powers, but I don't know, Batman just always grabbed me. I mean, that anime series they had in the 90s, I mean, come on, that was just the best.
Do you think Batman enjoyed pizza?
It's got to, right? I mean, Gotham kind of was like a big metropolis. They had to have loved pizza there.
See, because that's what's interesting. Because where I correlate superheroes and anything about like comic books and stuff is because when I used to go to Six Flags all the time and they had all the rides that were like, like superhero related, like you can go on the roller coaster like the Superman or something. But I always remember when I was a kid grabbing a slice of pizza. And then that's what just like whenever I see Batman, I immediately think like pizza. I immediately think like the giant sodas and then those games where you win those giant ass stuffed animals.
Oh
And
yeah.
I always won them in the beginning, so I had to carry around that little fucker all day long. So it was like a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, no, I hear you there. Yeah, I guess I can't say that I had a great correlation with Batman and pizza. I mean, obviously for me, I would think it'd probably be the Ninja Turtles, but I think I was into pizza even before then. Um,
Where
but
did it initially start at? Like to the point where you wanted to make your own pizza?
well, I remember being a kid and just doing the whole thing with mom. Mom busts open the Pillsbury thing and spread it out on the pan and some spaghetti sauce and some cheese and you make pizza and it's just like a thing you do with like your parents. And so I remember that, and we always would get pizza a lot. I went to a lot of sporting games as a youth. I'm not in the sports so much now, but we went to a lot of Pistons games, Lions games, Tigers games, and usually pizza after the game was like something we almost always did. So it's always been around. And I worked in a couple pizza shops, one when I was in high school, and I think that kind of springboarded it a little bit. And then another pizza shop probably about 8 or 10 years later, and I actually learned a lot more there about pizza and the process.
Are you work for any like popular shops, like things that we know about, like Domino's or something? Because me, I'm a fan of that Domino's pizza because of that oregano on the crust. And I sent you a picture yesterday.
I saw that.
Freaking Domino's burned down. That's two fast food restaurants that I barely ever get to try that have burned down now. First was Wendy's, and then now it's this one.
It's a shame. Yeah, Domino's, I do appreciate it. I mean, obviously for a long time I didn't like it. But no, I worked for the Hut when I was in high school, and I like to play with things, like we play with all sorts of different topping combinations because, and this is so many years ago. I mean, this is like 20 some years ago, but even back then, all the dough came in frozen like a brick. So you didn't learn anything about dough making. You did. There's nothing to learn about dough at Pizza Hut. You basically uncase the frozen brick, set it aside, and then 12, however many hours later, you can make a pizza with it.
Could hit
What
somebody upside the head with that pizza dough.
seriously, I mean, these things were solid. They were frozen solid, and it took.
I picture you out front of Pizza Hut, just like, oh, 30 minutes or less, just chalking giant chunks of frozen dough at people. It's like, oh shit, Scott's gone nuts.
Oh yeah, there was definitely not when I worked at Pizza Hut, but a different fast food place. There's definitely some of the cooks that used to do shenanigans like that with some of the frozen foods, But I guess yeah, when you're in your teens and whatnot, you just get up to dumb things.
Well, that was
Um,
like the occasional thing, like your parents gave you like for you, you started with pizza making with your mom. For me, I didn't have that chance. I had where my like nobody made fresh homemade pizza. It was always like oven or something you would get from like a freezer section or something. But
gotcha.
Lunchables was my own creations I would make, and I wouldn't even be able to do that fucking right. Like
Okay.
I didn't find out until later, I guess. I stopped eating dairy so much, and I guess my body grew an intolerance for it. So like if I have dairy now, you just want to clear the room out, which kind of sucks because like I eat pretty clean, but dude, if you
Hmm.
smell a nice pizza, like you want to enjoy that pizza. And we have them like for events. So anytime there's a birthday party, I mean, I don't know how many times I had a birthday party at like the Holiday Inn or some giant hotel, and we'd be swimming around for a couple hours. My dad would order just like 3 large pizzas and we'd tear it up, dude. I mean, they're great for what? Football events, baseball, any type of sporting event, any type of
Oh yeah.
tailgate thing. There's good pizza there. I don't know how we correlated that at one point. Like, this is going to be a party type food. It's like, wait a minute, hang on a second.
Oh yeah, and I think that's definitely been very popular. I think with my family as well. I mean, pizza is a go-to for many of those things. Fundraising events. Yeah, like after soccer games or something like that.
I don't know how many times I bought freaking Ziploc stuff with box tops just to get a pizza party for my fucking class.
Oh,
Like, like that was a big thing. And it was funny because first place for us was a pizza party, and second place was a field trip to like the Baltimore Aquarium. I'm like, let's get second. Like I was tossing box tops at the other class to beat us. I was like, I don't want the fucking pizza party. I'd rather go to an aquarium.
there you go. Yeah, I definitely remember. Now you talking about Pizza Hut, how they had the book it, where you'd read the books, or is this something different? Collecting box tops of like
Box
Pillsbury.
tops is like you would go and you would buy things like Ziploc bags. They would have these little fundraiser things. And if you got
Okay,
like a
yeah,
whole
yep.
group of them, you would send them in or something, and then you would get money for the school or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Or occasionally you could get like little products. I think that like you could get like a little stuffed snuggle bear or a shirt or like something like that. It's like send in like 20 box tops and please wait 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, like how am I don't even know how to mail this shit. I'm 12 years old. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what do I do with this? I'm just collecting them, putting them in a bag, and writing a note telling my parents to do it for me. And it never happened.
Yeah. Man, yeah, there's the era of those things. It's crazy how all that stuff is
It's like,
changed and whatnot.
and I mean, I've been to some pizza joints, and I actually kind of want to ask, what would you say would be the best pizza joint in your mind? Like, maybe not a mom and pop, but like a common one, because everybody always talks about like the good
Hmm.
gracious of Papa John's or something. I'm like, nah, man, Domino's for me.
It's funny you say Papa John's. I actually have a rule in my chat. If anybody says Papa John's, they don't get banned, but their chat gets erased for about 3 minutes.
Is it because he's an asshole? Like I just have
No,
that
I
sense of
just
feeling when I see Papa John's on the TV. I'm like, this guy's a giant douchebag.
I mean, I won't completely disagree with that, but it's just also the pizza. I just don't think it's quality pizza. I mean, I'm very biased when it comes to chain pizza. While I did work in chain pizza, I think I've really just kind of come out of that, and I'm kind of more into artisan pizza now. So a mom and pop shop would be my go-to, but if that was not an option, I mean, I'm a really big fan of Buddies because that's a Detroit thing, but that's still very regional. I mean, while it's a chain, and I think they have over 2 dozen in the state of Michigan, there are zero outside of Michigan. So not many people even know about them.
You would think
So
like the biggest pizza places would be like Wisconsin because there's just cheese there.
will you be surprised? Michigan actually started a lot of chains. I mean, they started Domino's, Howie's, Hut started in Kansas. Let's see. Little Caesars came out of Michigan. I'm not sure about Papa John's.
Don't bring up Little Caesars. I fucking hate Little
There
Caesars.
was a time when I enjoyed Caesars, but that was many years before the hot and ready became a thing.
Yeah, when it was first opened, it was pretty good. My grandfather would probably kill me if he heard about me talking trash on Little Caesars,
Oh
but
yeah.
because that's his all-time favorite. Because he's like he works at a hospital, so he gets up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He's out all day, and he doesn't get back to like late at night. So he just grabs like a hot and Caesars, whatever pizza right by it's at Target. They have it. So he
No
just goes
way.
right across the street to Target. They have a little shop in there, grabs it, and then goes by. I'm like, I remember so many times as a kid going to like grocery stores like Costco or something, and they had like the
Hmm.
pizza place in there, like where you get a hot dog or something. Always grab like a slice of pizza. That's good stuff. But like Little Caesars turned into like cardboard, man. Like you
It
try and
is.
eat it, it's like there's no cheese pull, there's no melting of the cheese. Like, what do you typically prefer about a pizza? What stands out to most to you? Is it the sauce? Is it the crust?
For me, it's the crust. Yeah, it's all about the crust. And I like a couple styles.
Okay.
Um, like I love like a kind of New York style. I will do things that will be kind of a blend of a New York and a Neapolitan style, but probably more Americanized. And of course, I love Detroit style pizza.
What's Detroit? Okay, I'm pretty sure someone's explained to me it before, but Detroit style, what is that? That's in a pan, right?
That's correct. Yeah, so they used to use these blue part pans back in like the late 40s or mid 40s. A lot of the old Italian wives would just grab whatever they had handy. And they happen to be these black square parts pans that, that auto workers used to use. I'm sure they cleaned the pans before they used them. But anyways, um they would build the pizzas in these pans, and it's very kind of like almost like a Sicilian or a focaccia in a way, because you treat the dough very much like a focaccia, and but then they build it kind of backwards. They'll throw a lot of cheese down, toppings, and then hit it with the sauce at the end. Sometimes, usually after the pizza goes through the oven. So that runs through the oven, you get this piping hot sauce, and then you just ladle like a couple little racing stripes, or some people do like a little dab on each slice. Um, and some people like to sauce it before it goes in the oven. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's basically how a Detroit style is made. And it uses a Wisconsin brick cheese that has a very, very high kind of buttery fat content. So when that stuff melts, it just gives you this amazing burnt, crispy cheese caramelization. And then the fat also helps cook the pizza and give it really great browning. So when it's done, you have like a very crunchy exterior, but it's like super pillowy on the inside. Now it's a thick pizza, and you're gonna get full pretty quickly, but it's one of the best damn things ever.
That's all right. See, that's the giant thing for me is how do you like your pizza? Because the whole factor is some people like the really thin paper crust type stuff, which I can't do. If I bite into it and it's like biting into a shard of glass where it just like shatters in your mouth, you're like, this isn't fun for me. I like a nice thick crust, but not one that's like I guess Pizza Hut where it's like it's just air and it just looks really, really thick, but there's nothing on the inside. I want something that's nice and like crispy, like charcoal black a little bit. Like you said when you tagged me in that photo, for instance, there was that black crust on the pizza that I liked. It
That's
wasn't a
right.
whole lot of crust, which is like kind of like it's still good though. I still like a nice crispy kind of crust. But
Hmm.
when it comes to a pan pizza, man, I look at that and I think of it more of like a lasagna. I mean, I don't it's like kind of like Chicago deep dish. Someone told me it was like the whole factor is it's basically a lasagna or like a calzone or something. I'm like, that makes sense because it's a pizza is supposed to be like that triangle slice, but when you get it in a pan, it's hard to cut it that way.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those are definitely going to be different because they're cut square. And I mean, I kind of see what you're saying. I think a Chicago style definitely bears more resemblance to a lasagna or casserole. I mean, Detroit style is more like a focaccia, really. It's basically like you're taking some bread, you're throwing some cheese on it and some toppings and whatnot. For me, it's a completely different world from Chicago style pizza, and it's also a very completely different world from Italian or even a New York style, for that matter.
Well,
And
what exactly style do you typically like stylize in? Like you said it was like a Neapolitan with a bit of New York, or do you just do Detroit?
I do both. I do Detroit style, and then I also do like a New York style that has a little bit of Neapolitan flair to it, because I have a uni oven that I have out on my back patio. So it's like a small wood fired oven. I think Pizza in the Sack Mike might have mentioned that. on his cast. And so I use that for like a lot of my pizzas. That thing gets up to like 900 plus degrees, maybe even 1,000. So you can crank pizzas out of it really, really quickly. But that thing's more for like your thin, I mean, not like thin like you said, but like your thinner round pizzas. When you're trying to do something really thick, like a Detroit pizza, you kind of have to run that thing at like half temperature and kind of play with it a bit, so it acts a little bit more like an indoor oven because every kind of pizza style cooks a little differently. Not every pizza needs to be cooked at 932 Fahrenheit for 45 seconds, you know?
I had someone make a raw pizza, and when they did it was a pizza, but they left it a little bit raw to where the dough was still raw, and they ate it, and
Hmm.
it was like, it's delicious. I'm like, no, that
Yeah, I wouldn't
can't
be
be
into
good
that.
for your stomach at all.
No, I don't think so.
And like even when you look at like Little Caesars pizza or like Chuck E. Cheese or something, just by looking at a pizza, it's supposed to have those like the common thing you would see on TV or something, the dark red spots where it got a little bit burnt, the cheese, but it was mostly like a kind of like a yellow orangish with a little bit of dark red to it. That's a classic pizza idea. But then you look at places like Little Caesars where the cheese is all just like a light orange color. There's no like, it doesn't seem like it's cooked at
Hmm.
all. It was just microwaved. Like I start walking by now. If I go by a pizza shop, I can just look at a slice and be like, that's going to be god awful.
Yeah, especially when they got them sitting out, even places that have fresh pizza and make wonderful pizza. If you're coming by and it's been sitting out for a while and they throw it back in the oven to reheat it, I'm always super skeptical about that. Sometimes it's good, but I really feel like most of the time it's just not. Mhm.
Well, I'm like a waste not, want not type of guy. I mean, pizza is like a really good food because if you can't finish it that night, you can still stick it in the fridge and have it the next day. Honestly, sometimes it's even better cold. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I hear you there. I kind of got a little bit of a symbiotic relationship going on over here because I mean, obviously, I do a pizza stream like twice a week, so I generate a lot of pizza. It's just me and my wife here, so while we eat pizza, like we meter the pizza intake, and so one of my neighbors, he supplies me with wood for the pizza oven. So basically, he chops the wood, he brings over the wood. I usually give him like, I don't know, a pizza, maybe a couple pizzas during a week, and it's perfect. Wood for pizza. He keeps the oven fueled. I keep his belly fueled.
that's perfect. Now, when you Twitch stream it though, what do you typically try and do? Are you tutoring people on how to make a pizza, or are you just showing people the creative process that you go behind?
Yeah, I'm showing them the process. That basically I'm inviting people into my kitchen. Like sometimes they're educational, but not always. But people ask me questions, and I don't. If they ask me a question, I'll answer it to the best of my ability. I share my dough recipes with folks, which when I started out, I always thought like, well, maybe that's not the greatest thing to do, but hey, I want people to learn how to get into pizza just as well. So I'm more than happy to kind of share what I've worked with, and not only that, my dough recipes have evolved over time, so I'm still learning myself.
Now,
Um,
what toppings do you typically prefer? Do you prefer a classic nice cheese pizza? I mean, hence the name on Instagram, Cheese Pizza 07. Shout out to you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, actually, I kind of think of a cheese pizza as like a blank canvas in a way. Think of it as like an artist's canvas. It hasn't been painted on yet. It's just waiting for the artist's muse to do something with it, right? And I think that's kind of why I ended up going with cheese pizza. I love all sorts of toppings. It's really hard for me to just pin down one particular topping or one combo of toppings. I really do like pepperoni with jalapeno. I'm a spicy guy. I like really spicy stuff. I'm not doing
That's
it
why
this
you hate
year.
Papa John's, man, because they put that jalapeno in the box, not on the pizza. They're like, here's a jalapeno pepper on the side if you want to add it on top. It's like, just put it in the pizza, damn it.
Oh, that's just a peppercini. That thing's not even jalapeno hot. That's like a mild pepper. Um, I'll
I,
throw those on. Those are nice. I'll throw those on a pizza too sometimes.
yeah, Papa John's doesn't do that. Papa John's like, I'm just going to put it in the box for you, and you decide your fate.
That's right. Well, when I used to work at the Hut, man, we had some yeah, oh man, it's been so long. I think they were Indian, they could have been Pakistani, I don't know. Either way, they could deal with their heat, right? And they would order banana pepper, double jalapeno. And I mean, they would just, I mean, that pizza I'm sure had to be really spicy. And no, man, that was their jam. They'd order it every week. Um, but hey, I hear you. As I said, I love jalapeno on it. Sometimes I even get out the hot honey. I have done crazy things like we put ghost pepper on pizza one time, but that was mainly because that was a challenge. It was not a tasty pizza. It was definitely difficult to eat.
And what would you say would be the worst topping on a pizza? Because I know everybody always shits on pineapple, but I always thought that was like one of my favorites. Was like a nice Hawaiian style pizza, even though probably in the pizza community that's a bit of a disgrace. But like, I was always a
Not at
classic
all, no.
cheese man for so long, but then eventually I was just like, what happens if I get a topping? And I started going into pepperoni, then I started going to Hawaiian, then I started going to like meat lovers is okay. I'm not a big
Hmm.
meat eater. I eat a lot of like I live in a beach town, so it's constantly fish. So like
Oh, okay.
my experience with pizza is like for a birthday event, it was like the only time I really ever had it, or like if someone was too lazy to cook in our house, we would just get delivery food or something.
Gotcha. Um, well, let's see. If the worst one I've ever done, um, maybe like squid,
You
probably
put
squid.
squid on a pizza?
Yeah, I tried to actually put squid and mussels on the same pizza, and
Ah,
one of the worst ones I've ever done. Really, I really didn't like it. Um,
I love everything out of the sea. Like I would eat a shark's butthole if it was probably offered to me. But man, that's crazy, dude, because I couldn't think of the cheese adding because cheese and seafood doesn't really go together.
Typically, no. Yeah, that's right. I think like shrimp works. I've done some shrimp stuff that worked out. A little shrimp Diablo or shrimp scampi or even like a shrimp Alfredo. And you got to kind of go light on the cheese, but I've seen those work out. Obviously, you have like your crazy Asian pizzas that have like shrimp, corn, and black olive and mayo.
Dude, I just got a really good pizza idea. So
Go for it.
when I was in talking to Pizza in the Sack when he was on here, we
Yeah.
created a hot sauce pizza, and then he ended
Oh,
up
yeah,
making
yeah.
it, and then he ended up sending it into Cholula, I guess that episode or whatever, so they could review it and maybe give a shout out or something. So I got a good idea that if you want to try, but I think it would be pretty cool. Imagine instead of using a pizza sauce,
Mm-hmm.
use a crab dip. So you use the
Oh, yeah,
crab
yeah.
dip as like a layer, and then you could add seafood on top of that, or add something on top of that, maybe like some pineapple, or maybe I don't know, not pineapple with crab dip. You would have to put like maybe a crushed up layer of like graham cracker or like saltines that you would use in like a good crab dip or a chip. And then yeah, on top of that crab dip, you could add little bits of cut up shrimp on top of it.
So basically, like a crab dip pizza.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to research some of that. Crab dip is something that I haven't had very often in my life. Not to say I don't like it or anything. I just
Sometimes
haven't been exposed to it.
they have a light layer of cheese to it that usually is up on top that makes it kind of like a lot like yogurt, which is pretty nice, but a lot thicker, like a very, very tough yogurt. And I think that would
Mm,
be a perfect pizza layer because it also is very sticky. So like things would stick right on top of it. So if you just grab like a bowl of crushed up like saltines or something, sprinkled it up top of it, or maybe a flavored chip like Fritos, and you could turn that into a whole different experience. I mean, it's a dipping food, but like
hmm.
when we look at seafood pizza, you can't really put cheese on it because that's just going to be such a, I guess, a rash or bold combo.
Yeah, that's something you really have to be very careful with. I think, as I said, I think it can be done, but it has to be the right cheese. Also, like you have to be very conservative with that cheese.
What do you typically see as like an issue when you're doing pizza making? Like, what's your biggest problem that you've had to overcome?
Well, I think the learning curve with my uni oven has been one thing. I've owned that thing for almost a year and a half now. Um, and it's always a learning experience. But I think that part of that challenge is something I've made for myself because I do wood fired cooking, and I mean, cooking with live fire is just inconsistent. It's different every time. Depends on the wood that's burning. It depends on how the wind's hitting it, and just so many factors. But there's something about that is just really amazing. Cooking with just real wood fire. I can do coals too, and I have a gas burner, and gas burners like straight up easy mode. But I like doing the wood. And so I think I've kind of presented myself a challenge in that the oven doesn't always stay exactly at the temperature you want. And sometimes you get hot spots and sometimes you get flare ups. Sometimes you burn the base a little bit. So those have been some of the challenges. And of course, learning how to launch a pizza into the oven was a big step as well. Kind of getting away from that pan and just going pizza directly in the oven.
Well, sadly, like for me, I would love, I mean, I cook on a stove top, obviously, like, boil up some fish or something. I'm constantly eating like seafood, but one of my all-time guilty pleasures is I really wish I could build like a campfire in my house just to get that smoky flavor of a campfire in my food because I think
Hmm.
that's one of the most unbeatable things in the world.
Oh
You get
yeah.
like a nice hot dog or something that's been smoked by a campfire, like you get
Oh yeah.
that taste you just can't beat. Like a nice smoked fire pizza is pretty interesting. Um, but when it comes to pizza, though, like it's different, obviously, where you're from, how you grew up, like what you style off of, and like
Sure.
most people just know like going to like a regular delivery, I guess you say. And I've had some pretty good delivery experiences, even with at one point, my buddy, his house is like kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it's not. But it's just like where internet really isn't there.
Oh no.
So you type in his address, and when it goes to the GPS, it goes a block down from his house. So we would
Okay.
constantly order when they were doing the 30 minutes or less, and we would order from Pizza Hut or something and get them to try and deliver to us. And then they would always be late, so it would be a free pizza because they would pass the
Yep.
house. And that was a perfect thing to do. And if I have to ask you, what's your best delivery moment through pizza?
Okay, I think I have a similar moment. And it used to happen to us pretty frequently when I used to live on like the real, like way over on the east side of Michigan. And there was just this whole bunch of condominiums over like probably I think about a mile, and there's a whole bunch of different streets. But all the streets had very similar names. Like they are all like Forest Lane and South Forest Lane and Forest Court and like Meadow Court. So like the names are just very, very similar. And there was more than one time that, the pizza people would end up like 5 streets down because there was a house or a condo that had the same number on a street that was very similarly named, like 5 streets down. And all the time they would end up there. And so one time I get a call from the delivery guy, and this is a while back before I think cell phones were super big. He's like, "Yeah, I'm at your door. I've been there for a while." And I'm like, "No, no one's knocked on my door." And he's like, "No, I'm at the door. Come on." I'm like, "You might be down at the wrong street." And he wasn't having it. He would not believe me that this was a possibility that he could be on the wrong street. So I'm arguing with this guy for about 10 minutes. I'm like, "Look, just get in your car, get back over, come on over, 4 streets over. That's it. No big deal." So finally I get this guy to come over, and then the pizza's barely warm. So of course I'm like, "Come on, man. I mean, the pizza's not even warm now." So send it back. But the thing, they're right around the corner. The guy knows where to go the second time, but it was a bit of an ordeal, you know.
I always look at those delivery guys and I'm like, they have a really tough fucking job,
They
but
do.
you're making somebody's day practically when you're a kid and you order pizza and some dude shows up and you're kind of nervous to give him the money for the pizza. He pulls up the little box or little thing that keeps it warm, the little blanket thing, opens it up and he's like, "Here you go, man." And the kid's face light up. Like that would be the only reason I'd do it. But I mean, we talk about
Yeah.
it being like a kid's job or something, like people like teenagers delivering pizza and stuff, but you see adults doing it now. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the best thing because they obviously know that like I've obviously have to work 2 jobs or something to do this. I like to make their night fun. Like I like to strike up a conversation or something. And if they're busy and they have to go, then here you go. Here's the tip and then go off. But like you're a fucking man of the house when you grab a pizza and you run in like, "I got it, bitches," and you just drop it on the
Yeah.
table. Like one of the biggest things I have to say about pizza is it does bring people together. But one thing that really can kind of deter me from talking to someone when they're eating a pizza is if they eat it and then they leave the crust.
Oh
So
yeah.
many people do that. And like I have people in my family that'll be like, "Oh, it's just too many carbs." So I'm like, did you think the pizza sauce was just floating on top of like an empty thing? Like there's crust under that. You ate all that, but you just won't eat the straight crust.
That's right. That's one of my favorite parts. I mean, I sometimes will leave that behind. If we have any instance I said earlier, like if my oven's a little crazy and I got a little bit too much black carbon on the edge, which happens sometimes, then I might not want to eat that bit because it could be a little bitter, a little too bitter for me. But yeah, the crust is like that's the gold for me. That's what literally I'm constantly chasing the perfect crust. Mhm.
Where do you stand on cheesy crust?
Oh yeah, I'm down with that. Like you talking Pizza Hut style?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I worked for the Hut, so that was one of the things I liked. Now, I will admit, it comes out a bit soft. Even when I make it, it comes out a bit soft, so it's hard to get it crispy. But I love it. Yeah, I love doing it.
I always look at that like it looks like a mozzarella stick if you just took the crust right off the pizza. I mean, out of every pizza place I could praise Domino's all fucking day. I could talk about mom and pop shops, but nobody beats school lunch pizza. I have no clue how the hell they did it, but it was just the best thing I've ever had. I mean, I would throw my lunch away when they had pizza day at school just to go and get lunch.
Yeah, we had these weird, like little hexagon shaped Mexican pizzas. At least that's what they called them. Now, looking back at it, I can't think of what was Mexican about it.
That's not culturally appropriate for a
Well, hey,
school.
I know, but we're talking the late '80s, early '90s. So, yeah, man. And so I couldn't even tell you. I just remember it was hexagon shaped. It definitely had, like, I think ground beef. Maybe it was a taco beef and maybe some cheddar cheese, but it definitely didn't really resemble a taco in any way. It was kind of not exactly a pizza, but I do remember those being good.
We had the occasional like regular like triangle slice, like the classic, obviously pizza, and then we would get it would be like the crust of the pizza, but it would be like mozzarella sticks, so you could like dip it. It had cheese inside of it. You would dip it on like pizza sticks is what they called it, I think. But I think my all-time favorite one that they made was it was like a one of those baguettes or whatever, like the French
Oh
bread,
yeah,
and they would cut it in half and then cut it up and like chop it up. So
yep,
if you got the end piece where it's like a little bit of like an oval kind of, but it was like it's sunk in. Like if you cut a potato and scooped out the inside, it would be just like that. And they had a
yeah.
pizza that way. That was fucking amazing.
That's interesting. That now see that almost gives me an idea there because I've done French bread pizzas, but I don't think I've ever done one where you scoop it out like a potato a little bit. I usually just flatten them a bit and then load it up.
It had me thinking of an idea. If you took the the pumpernickel bread, the good ass bread you get at
Ooh.
Outback, where you just want to keep ordering it over and over again, use that
Hmm.
as a pizza crust, but just scoop out the inside of it and load it up with like a layer of cheese, maybe something on like I guess inside of it. So like when you bite in, you have it inside the pizza, and then put another layer over top of it like a blanket. Like you could
Oh
do that with
man.
the crab dip pizza. You could literally like layer it up.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think we kind of passed over this a little bit, but when you were talking pineapple earlier, I do want to. I'm going to just throw it out there. Yes, I am. I am a fan of the pineapple. I don't discriminate. And I think for me, a lot of times like to say that the main rule is the flavor rule. You just want the pizza to taste good, right? So if it's going to have pineapple on it or peanut butter or even like kiwi, we're going there. It's just got to taste good.
Peanut
That's really
butter,
it.
see, now that's a big one because
Mhm.
like dessert pizza, I never really understood that one. I saw a Nutella and banana pizza one time at my hotel, and I was like, yeah, that's just the craziest combination. I'm not a big fan of Nutella, but when I was talking to Pizza in the Sack and we were going over a few different things, he was like, "Yeah, just toss out some pizza ideas." I was like, "Let me go to the grocery store real quick." So I went into the grocery store and I'm just looking at everything in the aisles. I'm like, "Dude, a vanilla pudding pizza." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Bro, get the vanilla pudding like the snack pack type. Turn that into like a little bit of a paste. You put that as the pizza sauce." Crumble up some vanilla wafers on top of that bad boy. He's like, that actually sounds pretty good. I'm like, funnel cake pizza. And he's like, what? And I'm like,
Oh
just,
yeah.
I can start getting ideas for stuff that you can just do. Just, you think of the weirdest combinations and different styles. Like, I got that inner fat kid that's just like, let's put all this shit together, man. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Well, there's some I saw a little while ago. This is probably a year or so ago now, but it was the Cookie Monster pizza. So, and of course, I can't find the recipe. I'm trying. I want to make this pizza, but I can't. I haven't been able to kind of dissect or disseminate, kind of what it's actually is on it. I mean, obviously, you can see it's got like blue frosting, and it's like a cookie base, and they crumbled graham cracker on it, and I think there's chocolate chips, but it's without like an actual recipe, I'm a little bit seems a little daunting, or at least a list of what's in it.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of. Would you say that I guess it's difficult for you to kind of get inspiration to create a pizza, or does it come pretty
No.
easy to you? Because I feel like it's a little bit like easy for me, just like with a crazy bunch of things that can come in. But like when it comes to making it, I would find it so difficult to be able to conceptualize my idea.
I mean, I think a lot of my ideas are borrowed. Some of them are original, but I would say probably a lot of the majority of ideas are borrowed. I mean, because people have done topping combinations for a long time, for a long amount of time. But I have a list that, I mean, I think it's over 180 now, but I got like 180 different pizza combinations. They all have like a name, and that's like my menu. And so basically, what I do on my stream is I will pick like usually four of those pizzas off that list, and sometimes I'll create something new and give it a name, and then the list grows. But I pick four of them, we slap them on a poll, and then I give my viewers or my community a week to vote on what they want to see on the Saturday stream, and we do that every single week. So in fact, we just did a meat lovers on Saturday because that was the one that won the vote, and then I got another vote going up right now, and I post every Friday. I post a new vote, the community votes on it, and then we'll make it. Now, of course, I'm the one picking the four pizzas, so I get to control it a little bit. But you'd be surprised. Sometimes I'm putting it together. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna go for this one, and then sometimes things just go completely different.
What's
Sometimes
like
we
the
have,
worst feedback someone has given you on like a Twitch stream? Like it's just different to me because I've never Twitch
mm,
streamed before. So that's live, right?
oh yeah, it's live. I do it live. There's no filters, no editing. It's all live. If I fuck up the pizza, it's live. I literally one time accidentally, I made a beautiful pizza, walked in off my porch and accidentally tipped the peel too much, and pizza went right into my trash. Literally, brand hot pizza, beautiful pizza, right in the trash, completely ruined.
I always talk about like you could literally shake the fuck out of the pizza inside the box and you'll still eat it even if it's completely wrecked. Well, like I remember one time my buddies like went chased down to the driveway because we were starving. He's like, I don't have time for like him to drive around looking for our house. So he runs down the driveway, grabs a pizza, and he's running back and he trips while going up the
Oh
steps. And the
shit.
pizza just flings forward and comes right out of the box. I'm like, fuck. And we're just staring at it. And I'm like next thing you know, we're reacting so fast where you're putting it back inside the box. Like it's still good. It's still good. It's like, all right, we can't eat this. Like we start looking at it. Like there's like splinters, I would say, from like the wood porch of the freaking on the pizza. You're just like, we can't eat this, man.
Yeah, well, now it's good that Domino has that. Well, I guess it's only carryout insurance, is it? Right?
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing I think I've ever seen, but it's so smart. And the commercial was priceless. The dude's like, it snowed outside. He's walking in with his pizza or something, and he slips backwards, and the pizza like flings back. Oh, get pizza insurance. It's like, hang on a second. How much extra is pizza insurance? Like $5.99 over a month span or something. You have to make like 4 easy payments.
Well, wait, they don't actually. I don't think they actually charge for that, right? I thought that they were just throwing that at people for free.
What the if that's free, that is that's a steal. That's what makes Domino's so good. But Domino has this thing though, that like most pizza places don't. If your pizza's really messed up, they'll come and bring you another pizza. Like they'll bring you two pizzas. Like
That's
they
cool.
really try their best to make it look like perfectly. Like we made sure that, oh, you found a hair in it, here's another pizza. And it's
Yep.
like commercial perfect. But they're also one of those people that like if you order online or if you call in, you like write something special inside the box. Like I've seen someone say like I want it in a Batman design, and they drew like the Batman symbol when you opened up the lid of the pizza box, and like the pizza was cut up to look like Batman symbol or something.
See, I admire Domino's for that. I probably couldn't tell you the last time I've even had Domino's pizza. I've always admired them for the way they handle social media, the way that they use technology to really advance their game. Like, I mean, in the Detroit area, this was a number of years ago, they were testing out driverless pizza delivery cars. And so the car would just show up at your house, and there'd be like a little punch pad, and you punch in like a pin that you got from Domino's, and then the little door would open and you take out your pizza, and then like you would already have paid, so you just take your pizza and you go, and then the car moves on to someone else. Now I think they always, who knows if that ever got out of testing, but I always admired Domino's for, as I said, the use of technology, the way they handle social media. Obviously, they don't spit fire like the Wendy's Twitter account, but
Oh my God, man.
I mean, I really admire them for that.
Well, I think they do a good job with social media and stuff, but I think it also is a problem with technology. The fact is, you were supposed to be scared as shit when a person was coming to your house when you were a kid ordering pizza. You were supposed to be nervous, like, I don't know, like, hi. It's like, you ordered a pizza? It's like, yeah. It's like, do you have enough money for it? I don't know how much is it. And like you're just like freaking out, like you just want to get
Yeah.
it over as much as possible. But like that loses the whole connection because now you can pay online and the dude shows up knowing he's not getting a tip. He's just handing you the pizza and walking off. Like that's the whole thing now. And it's like that kind of loses the aspect because it is supposed to be a little bit of like fun when they do approach you. You know, you're supposed to be scared a little bit. It's where I have a problem with like Uber Eats. I think that's way too much freedom for any child to be able to order from anywhere. Like, hey, I want a double cheeseburger. Well, I want pizza. Well, I want Chinese food. All right, we're going to order through Uber Eats. It's like, no, no, no. Back in the day, you had a fucking menu and you stuck to that. Like, you had, like, what do you guys else have besides pizza? We got mozzarella sticks. Holy shit, you got mozzarella sticks. What? We got Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with Uber Eats and whatnot, I mean, I don't know. I've never really done a lot of that. I mean, I guess obviously I've done pizza delivery and I've done, I think, Asian delivery, Chinese delivery, Korean food delivery. But Uber Eats is something I never really messed around with, or DoorDash or anything like that. I guess I've read a lot of, just horror stories where either the food takes forever, or stuff's missing, or I don't know. I guess I don't want to throw sling mud on them, but not something I've really messed with too much. And I mean, as I said, like I've kind of moved away from ordering pizza into just making it. But there are some, I will say, there are some really good places here that I will go for a pizza, but they're all like sit down kind of spots.
Well, that was like the whole point of going to like a pizza place was you want to be able to sit down and enjoy the atmosphere of like a
That's right.
restaurant. You know what I mean? But like, man, if you're talking about like, do you get a lot of orders for your pizza? Like, or is it
Well,
just classically you and your wife eating the pizza you make and then putting it up on like Twitch or something?
so yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like I just make this basically for myself, my wife, my neighbors, couple of neighbors, around the pizza train. But I am kind of looking at ways to transition into something more. This might not be the right time for that. Um, it's kind of just but it's definitely it's on my mind. It's something I'd like to do, but for now, the Twitch thing is great. I have a regular job that pays the bills, and I get to have my pizza hobby. But if it was something more, that would be cool. I definitely would be into that. But trying to wrap my head around being like a restaurant owner, it definitely seems a bit daunting.
What do you see about like doing your Twitch stream? What's the most things you've kind of learned about it? Like, because for me, I don't know a whole lot about Twitch. So it's like you're talking to someone that's like, maybe I want to, Twitch stream me going to the bathroom, or that's TikTok? You can't do that.
Yeah, no, you'll get banned with a quickness. You'll get banned so quickly.
TikTok accepts it.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, no, Twitch has like obviously they don't allow nudity or anything like that. Although there are folks that there are like ladies who body paint. I won't say that they skirt the rules, but they wear pasties, and I mean
You
they
can't.
are straight
You
up
telling me you
topless.
can't make a pizza calendar with a bunch of hot chicks just leaning and rubbing pizza all over themselves? That would get you so many Twitch views.
Yeah, if I had the artistic skill, yeah, that's probably something that could be done. But I have learned definitely things. I mean, I'm already a tech guy, so I kind of knew about audio video. I did audio video in high school. I actually did a podcast of my own many, many years ago. It was basically like a J-pop radio show. So I kind of learned about audio broadcasting and then later video broadcasting. And then I got into Twitch and learned even more things like very basic, like photo editing, which I'm not great at. I can do some audio editing, but I don't need to do those things because it's live. Like I hit record, we do the show, I stop it, and then that's it.
It's not saved anywhere, is it?
It is. Twitch will save it for 60 days. I archive all my broadcasts. I've had a hiccup on a few of them, but like I have archived broadcasts going back to 2016, when I used to be in this tiny little apartment, in a tiny little kitchen, making pizza. And I like to keep those because they kind of show where I've come from.
Do you do a lot of it like first person type, or do you try and do it like Rachael Ray's cooking show where you're like, hey, everybody, this is a cheese pizza and we're going to add this onto it. Put it in the oven for 30 minutes and here you go. It's like, that wasn't 30 minutes. Where did you get that pizza from? How many pizzas you making back there?
Oh no, it's all live. So I mean, these are long form videos. They go for like usually at least 2 hours up to like 6 hours and sometimes more. I think my longest streams have been like 12 to 14 hours, and those are like I mean, you're just doing everything. Like those ones, I'm making cheese, I'm making the dough from scratch, cutting all the toppings, preparing everything. Sometimes little side events to eat up time. Um, but yeah, and most of the time I do my dough ahead of time. I usually always like to have my dough done like about 2 to 3 days before the stream, so it gets a lot of time to get really nice kind of cold proof and build up really great flavor.
Why did you stop podcasting?
Um, well, God, I think content was becoming tough. I wasn't keeping up with all the new Japanese pop that was kind of coming out, and I kind of started to fall behind on the Japanese so video games. So it was basically all Japanese. Like I would review Japanese video games, like ones that were actually in Japanese, and anime, and I'd play a bunch of J-pop music because I was in school for Japanese back then. And it was, I don't know, it just, I guess, like when I kind of stopped taking my Japanese classes, um
It kind of faded out.
things kind of faded. I really wish they didn't, but yeah,
Have you
that's
ever
kind of.
thought about turning it into like maybe a pizza podcast a little bit, where you're having like maybe other pizza makers on talking about maybe some styles and different techniques? Because what I think is so interesting from talking to so many of you guys now is the fact is you guys might copy like the same thing when it comes like a certain style or a certain type of recipe, but you guys have your own unique style of pizza. That's why I asked you, what do you typically prefer to do, Detroit style, New York style? Because you can do that style, but you structure it all in your own. And I think that's what's so unique about it is you all have your personal preferences. That's why I asked, like, talking to Edgard from, I think he's the Ohioan pizza guy or
Yeah, the
Pizzolo.
Ohio and Pizzaiolo, yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he always talks about like he likes a nice thin crust, and I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, hang on a second, thin crust. Thin crust is terrible. Like it's like a paper plate. You can't have it like that. And it's cool to hear your guys' style because where you get your inspiration for pizza too, how much it means to you, what certain memories drifts back to it, and it all correlates down to how you make your own pizza. I mean, if I'm cooking something that's like a nostalgic food, the whole time I'm cooking it or prepping it, I'm thinking about those moments that were so nostalgic to me.
That's
As
right.
like a kid waking up and enjoying a slice of pizza from the fridge or something. Whenever I see a slice of pizza, all those memories go through my head. I remember my mom's a giant fan of Pizza Hut. We went to the Pizza Hut. That ended up fucking burning down too, but that was like 3 years ago. Why
Dang.
is every business burning down in my neighborhood?
I don't know, something's going on over there.
We had Wendy's burned down like 4 years ago, and then that turned into a Dairy Queen recently. And then we had Pizza Hut burned down a long time ago, and now it's a bar. But Pizza Hut was always so cool to go in and actually eat because they had the jukebox. They had
Hmm.
the salad bar was always amazing. 'Cause, I mean, that's great if you go for like a baseball game, you would go to Pizza Hut or something. But
Okay.
you know, Domino's, yeah, damn, that burned down too. I wonder what's next.
Yeah, so you had one of the bigger ones then. Yeah, the Pizza Hut I worked at wasn't the salad bar style. They was just one of those small delivery carry outs. So they didn't have no buffet, none of that stuff. Which honestly it's probably fine. Because we were just a small little place.
Well, I'm thinking like you could turn your pizza thing into like, a podcast type deal where you're talking to other pizza chefs and making it more of like a show. Maybe even if you have any in your local area, there's probably some other people around you that cook the same pizza, maybe in your state. Invite them over, or do something like that, or at least toss recipes back and forth. I know like the pizza community is pretty positive. You guys are just bonding over, it's always kind of very, very support. And I think when I was talking about like the negative things you might get during a Twitch stream is if like,
Oh
you got
yeah.
someone that's inflated ego or something that just
Yeah.
comes in.
Let me address that. Yeah. So obviously I get some Italians coming into my chat cussing me out in Italian because I am basically shitting all over what they call pizza. I just shrug that off because I get their passion, but hey, I mean, there's more than one type of pizza, and pizza's changed very much since it came out of Italy, and all of those types of pizza are amazing. Um, so there's that. Then you just get Twitch trolls, someone who just wants to troll to troll. I for a while we had one person coming in, what was it? And they would just come in and just talk shit, just to be an asshole for no reason. Never seen before. They just come in, talk shit. you'd ban them, but then they'd create a new account and show up again, and you'd ban them again. And that happened for a few weeks, to the point where I ended up writing a bot to just auto ban this dude because he pretty much kept using the same name and just changing the numbers at the end. So I wrote a bot that basically anytime it saw that name, it would just ban the dude immediately the first time he said anything. I don't even care if he said I like puppies, banned.
He
You
probably
know?
liked Papa John's. That's what the problem was. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like if you look at like the pizza community too, and then you look at like people tossing maybe a negative review or doing something, I think it's most of all pretty beneficial. You guys are all pretty connected. You start to
Oh
notice
yeah.
that like a lot of you were talking back and forth. I know before I even reached out to you, which I'm pretty sure, I mean, give me your initial thoughts of when I even messaged you or something like that. Like what did you initially think?
Well, I think someone, I think it was Edgar that had mentioned you, and if I think did I message you first? I may have.
I know when Mike was on, he said that like I got this good guy for you. His name's and he sent me your account and I was like, hold on a second. I was like, we already are signed up to do this tomorrow. Like we already have it scheduled in to record or something like that. He's like, oh
Ah,
cool, yeah, he's a good
yes.
guy. It's like you start to find out you guys are all so like neatly kind of knitted together a little bit too. And I think that's amazing because what you probably noticed with podcasting too, it's a giant fucking competition. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
it's the same thing. Like if you see like real Italians or something, and they always judge on how an American makes a pizza. Oh, that's not classic style. That's not traditional. That's this. That's this. It's like I can understand that because honestly, the traditional style to me sucks because apparently you're supposed to eat it with a fork, and I don't like that. I think that's terrible.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I really do agree with that. I think it's so interesting. I've been noticing this lately because of this whole like, everybody's at home and whatnot. I've been seeing a lot of the Pizziolos doing Instagram lives, and I love it. I mean, I've been on Twitch for a number of years. Like, I've been doing pizza on Twitch for probably about 4 years now. But like, I'm the only guy doing it. Like, I mean, because that's my thing. Like, I literally pretty much only do pizza. And there was times when I used to game because Twitch it's a gaming website. Almost everybody knows it as a gaming website. But they're trying to for the past few years they have done more with like creatives, people who paint, people who play music, people who draw, people who cook, whatever, just outdoors people. I mean, you name it, you can probably find it on Twitch now. And so I really love the fact that while it seems like Instagram has a lot of them, like I kind of do my own thing over on Twitch, and I've been thinking about doing an Instagram live, even though those seem to be pretty short form, comparatively to what I do. Like, I mean, I'm on for hours, and I don't know if, Instagram folks have the same attention span as Twitch people. Like, Twitch people are fine with 2, 3, 4, 5 hour streams, no big deal. Because sometimes they just channel surf. They go and check out other channels, they watch multiple channels, or they're cooking and they just throw it on in the background. Um, and then, so as I said, I'm happy that the food and drink is being highlighted more. And actually, this Friday, they're going to feature me on the front page of Twitch from what is it, 7 to 9 Eastern time. So I expect to have a lot of new eyes on the channel that have never seen pizza making on Twitch. Also, folks that probably don't even know that there's cooking on Twitch at all, because there's a lot of people, they pop in the chat and they go, "Whoa, people are cooking on Twitch?" And go, "Yeah, I've been here for 4 years. Welcome in."
Even though like Twitch is just recently in the popular eye now, like it started like becoming known to a lot more people. Back in the day, it
Hmm.
was like, they were doing commercials for that and you just still didn't know what it was. But it is a
Yeah.
gaming thing. A lot of people like
Oh
stream
yeah.
like Fortnite and stuff. But I want to
There you
see you
go.
make your own freaking pizza show, dude. Like a Rachael Ray, but with freaking Scott, man. I
That's what
would
I do every week.
I wouldn't, dude. I would love that if you like had like you were front on the camera or something, had like guests come in, talk to some like you could Zoom Skype some people too and invite them into your conversation, turn it into a pizza podcast.
Well, yeah, Edgar was talking about that yesterday. He did a live on Instagram, and I think between him and Mike and someone else, they said, why don't we try and get on Zoom? And that got the gears turning for me. And I'm thinking, like, well, I'm pretty sure I could integrate Zoom as a browser source or window capture into my Twitch stream. So it would be kind of hard to find the real estate on the screen because sometimes my screen's already a bit cluttered. But um,
You just have to think of what to call it because no offense, you can't just call it cheese pizza. You'd have to have like a
well, yeah, no, we would have to have something. Yeah. Whereas, I mean, I can retitle. I mean, even if I did broadcast it on my channel, like there's some logistics to be thought about there because I wouldn't try to be taking the broadcasts, but if I could put my portion of it into my stream, there's some way that would work, that'd be great. But also you got to realize that if I get 3 other people on the call, then there's going to be, how can I put it? There's just going to be a different dynamic than me just sitting there talking to my chat. Because when I'm talking to my chat, it's like I'm talking to my chat, and there's not like, other people that I have to address as well, unless my wife's in the kitchen.
When you have a guest on, you should just do like an episode where you're making a pizza, then you have like a guest chef come on, maybe like not really show you how, or I guess like to show you what he would do or something, but more like just talk about it, talk about the creations. But then when you have a group thing, like 4 or 5 people in, you don't make pizza at all. You just sit there and talk to other pizza chefs, and then you figure out like if we were going to design a pizza, or maybe some thoughts and some opinions and some maybe ideas of, or something like a certain experience, like kind of how we're doing.
Hmm.
But you just invite it in with multiple people so everybody gets their own thing. And you don't have to make it long. You can make it like 20 minutes or something. I mean, it's all of you guys thinking of crazy combinations too. I'm talking about like, I know the pizza community, what a good thing you guys can be doing is collaborations. I mean, you guys could be like collabing up, like me and this guy are going to team up and make this pizza idea. And then you see it created and everyone's like, holy shit. And that just gets more people onto your site and his site as well.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I really love the fact that trying to network and whatnot. And I hate to say this, but it is kind of the truth. But a lot of the Twitch gaming community, they don't share the love. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of truth to it. There's a lot of the rules in the gaming community are: do not advertise, do not self-advertise, do not link your own channel in my channel. You know, there's a lot of that, and out of respect, you abide by those rules. You want to abide by the rules of the particular channel, and sometimes the rules can get really weird. Everybody's got their own rules.
Well, that's like the same thing if you look at like Joe Rogan's podcast. Any of the comments, there's just people commenting like, hey, check this out. Hey, check this out. Hey, check this out. This is my podcast. This is this is that. They're just trying to get attention. I get it, because we're all trying to call at the top to get views and stuff. But it's still
Yeah,
like, man, it's like just, you self-make that shit too. It's like, it doesn't, it takes a lot of effort, obviously, but it's so much
it
more
does.
beneficial than just like spamming people's accounts, sending them a copy and paste email like, hey, man, you should check this out. It's like, what's going to make me want to check it out? The only reason like I would look at your post now is because I've had an amazing conversation with you. It's the same reason like these hot, like people send me hot sauces or send me something. Um,
Hmm.
I like the whole aspect of finding out that you're an actual real person. There's that connection there, which you don't get with like Papa John's. You don't get with a giant corporation or business, because they couldn't give 2 shits about you. I like knowing that like he's a cool ass dude, and that's why I order his stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really the way it should be. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with like kind of giving a helping hand to some of the smaller channels. Like one of my buddies, who's on Twitch, he's a British chef that moved to the US, and he lives in New Mexico, but he's more of an educational guy. He's definitely trying to teach you tips and tricks, how to do it simply, how to do it without crazy tools. And he is kind of showed me that in the food community, it can be about the love, and it can be about sharing the community, because we all love food, and there's no need for us to battle over the particular viewers. So I would see a lot of times that he would do a lot of like promotional, like, oh, you're a streamer, you're a food streamer, well, like let's promote you, like, can we put their link in the chat, please, guys? Check them out, give them some love. And he helped my channel grow quite a bit. And I've seen many small channels, people who are literally like broadcasting like maybe 0 to 3 people, finally being able to like crack double digits and even more, growing, eventually getting affiliate, which is kind of the first step to earning money on Twitch. Um,
Well, you guys bonded together too, and I think it's a
mhm.
perfect pair when you get to know these people a little bit more and see the positivity in it. And honestly, you guys should all just team up against the people that eat it with a fork, because
There you
honestly,
go.
that's savagery. I mean, you got to fold that up like a taco, dude. That's just the
I agree.
classic way, man. Come
Y-
on now.
Hey, you got to do I will say, you have the fold, always the fold, but there are some pizzas that are not foldable, and you got to break out a fork. Now, it's rare, But those are probably going to be your, what is it? See, that's going to be a deep dish. That's going to be a Chicago deep dish.
Yeah,
If
that's something you have to eat with a fork. That's wwhy I'm a little bit sketchy on like why is it not a lasagna?
yeah,
Because like it's just hard to kind of get it in there and turn it into a taco because of the way it comes out. But when you get a pizza, you turn it into a taco. Also breaking it up, like taking a pizza slice and ripping it in half and then eating it that way, that's okay too. But if you just sit there and do like small little cuts, like a little tip of the front and then off to the side, then you leave the crust at the ending. Like my grandma did that, and I just took
oh
the
yeah,
plate
okay.
away from her. I'm like, I'm sorry. You don't. You might have paid for it, but you don't deserve it.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I want to say that there's a style in Italy where they use the fork and knife. That might be in Rome. I can't remember.
That's the traditional style to eat pizza is apparently with
Yeah,
a fork and knife that I've learned. And I'm like, well, then the traditional style is wrong. Okay.
I don't know. It's a hand food. It's like if I could pick it up with my hand, that's the way I'm going to do it. Unless it's really just falling apart. Like some of the taco pizzas I've made. My wife loves a good taco pizza,
Well, that's like they
and
give you a paper plate or something, and then they give you one slice of pizza. It's that. It's
yeah,
like it's a move around food. You don't have to sit and eat it. You can honestly walk around.
that's true. Yeah. Well, yeah. As long as you can fold it, you're pretty good. But if you pick that thing up and just everything slides off of it, then you're in trouble a little bit.
I like it a little bit when you can grab the slice. Like it is nice when nothing falls off, but honestly, when that cheese does drop a little bit on the plate, you can grab like a fork or like a piece of the crust and scoop it up and put it in there. That's okay. But if you put so many condiments onto a pizza and then like you go and pick up the thing and all the condiments just fall right off, it's like, fuck, I can't even get a good slice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, usually it's just like something that's too heavy, or maybe they've oversauced it. And there's a couple different things that can make that happen. And that's always a bit of a disappointment, but you just kind of pick it up, shove it in there, fold it, and give it another whirl, right?
You live and you learn and you stay away from Chuck E. Cheese and Little Caesars.
Oh man, yeah. Chuck E. Cheese. I see that brings back some memories of like going there. Obviously, back then you think the pizza's amazing, and then you're trying to play the street like the original. Not we're not talking Street Fighter 2. We're talking Street Fighter 1, the one where they had the big giant pads that you had to smack with your elbow until your elbow was like just completely red and sore.
Freaking Mortal Kombat, dude. That's brought me back was that thing. And then they had a little like thing you would insert a quarter in, and it would drop down into like this little shooter, and you would like pull the switch down, and it would flick it out of the little holder thing, and it would land in like a dinosaur's mouth or something. You get tickets out of that, and you save up like a bunch of tickets, spending like hundreds of dollars to get a fucking me. I got a dolphin that would just hit a ball back and forth. It was like a little like thing. If you
Yeah.
pushed it, it would just like be like a metronome, keep going. Dude, I spent probably $400 to figure out you could buy that thing for $5. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I gotta say, I definitely miss like arcades like that. Like they're in town. I haven't been there yet. I wanted to go. And I'll probably still check it out in the future. But in Atlanta, there's a place that is it's kind of like an older retro arcade. They don't have pizza, unfortunately. I really wish they had pizza there too. But it seems like they're more like a kind of like a taco fusion type place with about like 20 arcade cabinets.
That was like a classic thing though. You're like a family fun center or an arcade place, and next thing you
Oh
know, like
yeah.
you're playing arcade games, and like the pizza gets broken out, like a birthday party type thing. And I have to ask you, what is one of your retro favorite arcade games? Like a memory, maybe. Like for
Hmm.
me, I'll give you mine just so you can have an idea of what to maybe choose. What I mean by memory, I
Mm-hmm.
remember going to a campground with my dad, which I did a lot. And I swear to God, dude, there was he gave me like $20, or he's like, go into my wallet and pull out $10. So I go into his wallet and I think it's a $10 bill. Without looking, I'm so much in a hurry because I know it's about to rain. I know it's about to thunderstorm. So I'm like, I got to be back before that happens. Back in the day when you're on your bike and you couldn't get Uber to come pick you up, you had to freaking ride home before the storm. Um, I pulled out the 10, ran with it, and I go into the store and I get like a couple like two couple $5 bills or something I'm asking for. And I buy a couple drinks and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this all adds up to like $8 or $9. I'm like, she could just keep the change. And I go, yeah, keep the change. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, it's a fucking dollar. Yeah, keep the change. She goes, I don't think you saw what you gave me. And I was like, what? And it's $100 bill.
Oh man.
So I fucking I took 20 out of it. Technically, I was only supposed to take 10, but I took 20 out of it. I went downstairs where they had the little arcade that was like under the it's like a little like look like a bit of like a little storage spot, but they had a foosball table, they had an air hockey table, then they had Mortal Kombat, the old school one. So I'm supposed to be back before this storm. I end up playing Mortal Kombat, and all I hear is bam, like this giant
Uh-oh.
freaking lightning bolt sounded like it hit right near the camp store. Everything, they shut it down. It was raining super hard. My dad texted me, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Dad." And I sent him a picture of me playing Mortal Kombat. He's like, "So when should I come pick you up? You want me to come get you now?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm gonna be playing the shit out of this." Dude, I spent like $60 out of that 100, dude. He was so
Wow.
pissed. And he was like, what, you took my 100? I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "How much did you spend?" I was like, "Here's 40." He goes, "You spent all that on freaking Red Bull and Coca-Cola?" And I was like, no, no, no. I played Mortal Kombat. And I felt like that was exceptional to say. And he just looked at me like, son of a bitch, what level did you get to?
That's great. Yeah. Combat, I enjoyed that one. I was never good at it. I think I was more of a Street Fighter Killer Instinct guy. God, Killer Instinct was something I used to play like so. I used to be really, really, really good at that. Because I would just come home from school and play it nonstop, trying to get a perfect run on the hardest level or hardest difficulty, which I never achieved. Came close, but never happened. But to answer the question about my arcade, I think it would probably have to be one of the ones where you are playing with a couple other people. So three of them kind of come to mind, and that would be like Turtles in Time, the X-Men, and the Simpsons. Those,
Yes, the Simpsons battle one was fucking dope,
yeah,
dude.
those were all
Ah.
great because you could get together with 4 to 6 people, and they were so fun. I mean, they're all beat 'em ups, but I loved those.
Those are all good ones, dude. Like I'm still waiting for them to make Simpsons Hit and Run, that old Xbox game for freaking
Oh
the new
yeah.
Xbox, dude. That would be so enjoyable. Like Pac-Man, I never really liked. I never understood it. I thought you had to eat all the ghosts, and then I started figuring out like 10 years later that no, you have to collect every single ball and it
Hmm.
brings you to the next level. And I'm like, damn, I wish I would have known that. I'm sitting there thinking this game's impossible trying to get all the ghosts because they keep coming out.
Oh yeah, you definitely had some fun with that one. Operation Wolf, where you had like a little machine gun that you could be shooting at the screen. And then like things like 1942. God, what was the other one? Oh, Dig Dug and Burger Time.
Yeah,
Played a lot of
racing games
those.
too, man. I'm telling you,
Oh
that was
yeah,
a good
yeah,
one
yeah.
too.
Like Ivan Reitman, I think it was where you had the off-road one. I think I would play that quite a bit. Yeah, because the arcade was basically where it was at. My parents got me a Nintendo a little bit later, and they also got me the one that didn't come with Mario, but I had Dragon Warrior, which is now known as Dragon Quest. So RPG games were kind of like where I started at home. Like obviously, I had played games at my friend's houses. I'd play games in the arcade, but when I had my own system, my first system, it was Dragon Warrior, and so RPG games is kind of what became my thing, and still kind of is.
I really enjoy like because like I said before about having like a pizza party at like a Holiday Inn or something. I'll go there now and I'll be like, "Can I just go to your arcade?" And memories will fly back, dude, of getting like a gumball out of the machine or
Oh
something,
yeah.
putting some quarters in, playing one of those racing games, grabbing a slice of pizza. I mean, I had every single birthday at like a hotel. We just got a whole room rented. My dad would get me my own room when I was like 11 years old. So that's like a fucking dream for a kid, man.
Oh
And
wow.
because we knew someone that worked there, like manager, so we would get it like really, really cheap. And he would just let me do my own thing, get me a couple pizzas or something. But they're just great experiences, dude. Overall, it's a good old nostalgic food, and I can see why, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, pizza, these are all things we consider American, even though a lot of them aren't from here.
Sure, definitely. Well, we put our own spin on it, you know. Every region kind of puts their own spin on it, and that's what's wonderful. You take it, you make it a little bit your own, and you pass it on to the next generation. They make it a little bit their own, and
We call
yeah,
that adding a little bit of style to it.
exactly.
Well, I really appreciate you, Scott Williams, for coming out and doing the podcast, man. I want to give you here a minute at the end, be able to plug your Instagram, anything, your Twitch stream, where people can maybe look up some of what you do with your pizzas. Hopefully, you're also talking shit on Papa John's during your Twitch stream.
Yeah, yeah, we do that. But you gotta be careful because if you mention it in chat, you'll find yourself in a short timeout. But anyways, yeah, so on twitch.tv, I am cheese underscore pizza. That is cheese with a Z. So that's CHEEZE underscore pizza. You can just slap that onto the back of twitch.tv and you'll find my channel. That's where all the main stuff is. Usually when the stream's over, we post pictures over on Instagram, and that is cheese underscore pizza 07. It's the same over at Twitter. I do have a YouTube as well. You can search me over there. There's not a lot of videos there, but the content there is pretty much exclusive to YouTube. So it's worth checking out as well.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Out of the Blank podcast, and stay tuned for our next episode.